question 4, who would be the audience for your media product? For me and my group to decide on a target audience, looking back at our research on thriller movies and films, we realised that there are many things that you have to look at before deciding on the target audience, and this is what we've come up with. For gender, we've decided it's going to be, our target audience are going to be mainly men. And the reasons for this is because men are stereotypically into violence and are more likely to watch a thriller rather than a romantic movie. They're going to be able to relate to the protagonist because the protagonist is of a male, because he's male, he's a man. Another thing is because of our other actors. For example, we have a female, and due to Laura Mulvey's male gaze, the female protagonist and the boss, which is also a woman, they're going to be more intrigued to watch her on screen. They're going to find her more appealing. Another thing is race. Clearly our protagonist is of a darker race than, say, because he's clearly not white, but neither black. You could tell that he's from the Middle East or Asian. So that's the type of people that would be more likely to watch the film. Another thing is ethnicity, which just like race, but more precisely, those from an ethnic minority group would be more likely to watch this thriller through the protagonists linking back to the race, because they're more likely to be able to relate to the protagonist's life and background. For instance, if he was to say something in that different language, or the lifestyle that the protagonist's displays would be more, the audience would be more able to relate to that. This leads us on to the age. So for age, which is very important, I think age would be, say, 16 to the mid 30s, and this we decided on due to another thing, which is the socio-economic class, which we've also made a broad range of demographics, and because London is so varied into its makeup, which leads back onto the setting and the location it's set. We've chosen 16 to mid 30s because our socio-economic classes our social economic class is of the categories A, B and C1. And the reason for that is because of the plot of our thriller film illustrates, and that's of a case study, and it has a crime scene. Those of a category A, such as lawyers, would be able to relate to that because they are constantly within that environment of case studies. Whereas we wouldn't have those of, like, say, the category E. And really that's because pensioners wouldn't be intrigued to watch something that makes them think too much. Unskilled and illiterate wouldn't be able to relate much. Stereotypically, they wouldn't be able to relate to those that are of the middle and upper class. And that's because our thriller movie has twists to it. It makes you think. And that's why, for example, teachers who are in the category B would be more likely to watch it, and because it makes you think. And yeah, for location, which is very important, and that's mainly because of our distribution and production company. and they are both British. The fact that they are both British makes a big difference. Obviously, you wouldn't find someone, well, stereotypically, you wouldn't find someone with an American accent in a British setting. And our protagonists and actors that are acting in the Thriller movie clearly have a British accent, so the audience would be more familiar and be able to recognise, with the location as it's set in the suburbs. Even though they may not be able to recognise with specific stations, they'll still be able to understand and be more comfortable watching it. The fact that it's set in London makes the whole audience, target audience, more broad, and that's because of Britain, because London is multi-ethnic. For the time period, usually thrillers are set in the winter, and our thriller is set in winter due to, you can see from the mise en scène, of the dimmed lighting, it's quite cloudy, and if it was distributed in the winter, it would create more tension.